Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, sure, sure. You can start. You can start.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Feed your mind with the positive into your life. A very good morning to one and all present here. I welcome everyone for this one-day seminar on benefiting from wicked opportunities in line with technology in mid of COVID, conducted by Department of International Business. Success is not the key to happiness if you love what you are doing. I request D. Nithalan, Assistant Professor, Department of International Business, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, to welcome the gathering.
A warm welcome and very good morning to one and all present here. The Department of International Business is proud to host its international seminar on benefiting from wicked opportunities in shaking up our psyche, triggering our fears and uncertainties. No matter how serious and sad all of this is, there are upsides as well. Few general opportunities are available for most people by this crisis in the form of better meetings, reconnection, clear environment, etc. To provide information on this topic, we have amongst us the most eminent academician, Dr. Benedict Valentine Arulanandam, Senior Lecturer, Sunway College Management, Principal, Faculty, students and participants. I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. At the outset, I wish to place my deep gratitude to the management for their support. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our honoring hard to make this institution to achieve a new vigor and
He was also one of the recipients of the Harvard Travel Grant awarded by Jeffrey Institute of Southeast Asia with Harvard University, USA. He is also a member of ATI-NER Greek. Now he is currently serving as a senior lecturer in VUP program, Sunway College, Malaysia. He is none other than our chief today, Dr. Benedict Arulanandam, sir.
Thank you.
With no more further delay, I hand over the sessions to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the MC and your time. Now, without much ado, today's topic is benefiting from wicked opportunities. I was wondering what topic to choose earlier, and I'm doing COVID, a wicked problem. Why is it wicked? It's because there are more than one solution. The traditional concept of a problem is where you have day as complex, able to solve it by one approach, but unfortunately it doesn't work because you find that it will lead to another challenge or another problem. All right, so you notice that even now, for example, the COVID, in many parts of the world, including, I'm sure, Malaysia and also India, you find that within 3 months, many businesses has already closed down because of cash flow problem. And in some places, you find that even public listed companies that are listed in stock exchange, closed down even after 3 months. Then I begin to think, why? Because didn't you plan for a buffer for more than 3 months? What happened to your retained earnings that we see in your balance sheet? What happened to that? Are they just figures or are they actually cash balances? So these are questions. What happened to the top management? Weren't they forward looking? Weren't they planning for a crisis? So therefore the contingency plans were failing, and there were many retrenchment. And this is a very sad problem. Why? Because the problem is with the management of companies. When the company or an organization is planned well, is organized well, then you find if there's any storms along the way, it can of its fundamental. And this is what is crucial when you talk about wicked situation, wicked challenges. And you find here where wicked challenges has a variety of stakeholders. Right. It is not accessible to any trial and error. You must have a solution. And sometimes that solution cannot be an old way of doing things. You have to look at the new issue, you have to look at the new circumstances. Boys and girls, young adults like you are going out to the working world in a very short time, maybe after 1 year, 2 years. You're going out to the world, and the world has now wicked challenges. And here you are preparing yourself with solutions. So now, if you have traditional concepts going into a wicked problem, wicked challenge, you're not able to solve this. Now, later on in the following slides, you will see what are the requirements. What are the requirements as a young adult, as people going into the workforce? What must you have so that you be able to adapt in the midst of wicked challenges, to identify the opportunities that arise? We got to look out at opportunities. And now is a more pressing time to remain positive, as what the MC says. We must remain positive even in such times as COVID, even in such times where even our loved ones has passed on because of COVID. Even in that kind of pressing situation, we must remain positive. Why? Because this is by psychologists always say, when you remain positive, you're giving opportunity for new brain cells to emerge. That's the reason you have new ideas. New ideas can only function where you have positivity, positive thoughts, right? And there is a sense of freedom. Creativity cannot be enhanced where there is stifleness, where there is lack of freedom, where there is negativity. You cannot. That is the reason why a thief gets always caught. Why? Because there's no new plan for him or her. A thief always gets caught finally because there's no new ideas. New ideas cannot come because there are cells dying because of negative behavior pattern. So therefore, you notice that today's challenge to have an ecosystem within the organization, be it institutions, be it companies, be it any kind of non governmental organizations, any entity that has to have a ecosystem that is able to embrace complexity, able to embrace any kind of challenges. Now, you never know, there could be a COVID 2.0 coming very soon in a few years' time. We never know. We never know. So does that mean the company is going to close down again after 3 months of COVID 2.0, or and then again come back again and start employing and again close down after COVID 3.0? Wicked problems are inherently resistant to clear definitions. Why? Because of the complexity that is involved. Because in the time of, and how this complexity were to arise, what actually constitute this complexity? Now, as business dynamics moved on to globalization, that they start to look at new innovative methods at the same time with new mode of communication now with the computerization and with blockchain, with fintech coming on board. It creates greater complexity. Now, when it creates greater complexity, what does that mean? It means that wickedness now is getting much more and more. The reason why I use the word wicked is because it's so intertwined, it's so complex that you can't have one solution. Gone were the days you have one solution. Now you have multifold, and you are going now into the workforce very soon. And you're going to face all this where you need to have multifold methodologies of solution. Otherwise, you'll be lost. Otherwise, you won't be able. Now, when complexity grows, wickedness grows. It's not saying that we're not supposed to have complexity. We need to have blockchain now. We need to have fintech. We need to have the various technological approaches. That is vital. But as much as it grows, wickedness arises. Let me give you a simple example. Now, suddenly there is a fraud where somebody takes money or bank account has immediately reduced. Then you make a police report, you go and complain to the bank and things like that. But the system is so complex. You do not know who did this. You do not know it. You don't know who is the hackers. It can be from one part of the world. You do not know. So it is so complex. Can the bank says, okay, we will try to put a firewall next time? Is that enough? By putting a firewall, is it enough? That is a traditional approach. You tell you put a firewall. But today, it is addressing the weakest link in your whole entire system. How did the hacker manage to break open your present system? That means there must be a weakest link. That means to say that it's much more than that. It can come from the various aspects of the banking circle. So therefore, it requires greater holistic thinking than just having one solution. And
Excuse
guys,
me, sir. The slide is not changed, so it's in
yes, I
the
know.
first slide.
Yeah, Vishal, you mean the
The slide, sir. It's
which
in the
slide?
only. We have
Yeah.
here only the first slide, sir.
Oh, only
It's
the
not
first slide.
changed. Yes,
Uh,
sir.
now,
No, sir.
no. How come? How come? Let me stop sharing and try again.
Okay, sir.
Thank you for telling me.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let me try again.
Okay, sir.
Oh, mm. Can you see now? Can you see now?
Sir, we are.
Hold on a minute.
Okay, sir.
This is the same problem I had the last time. Mhm. Yeah. Present now, I click Windows, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Mm, I still don't see it. Okay. Mm. Can you see now?
Sir, we are able to see only your screen, sir, but the PPT is not displaying, sir.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Something is.
So if you are presenting in the window, first you have to.
Yes, I can see. Okay, to make it bigger, you have to just click that arrow there, the small little arrow. There's a small little arrow here. So click that to become bigger. Okay, so you are going to change the slides, right? As I move on.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right, right. Great, great. Sorry, guys. Sorry, all of you. There's some issue of technical issue. So very sorry for that. And my sincere apologies here. So moving on. And it says that here, the next slide, please. Right, Adi, next slide. Next slide. Yes, and therefore the reason for an ecosystem is important because it will help to address these wicked problems, help to address. So that is something that is crucial when it comes to wicked, because wicked problems are very complex. Wicked problems is not there's it is not like traditional problems where you have one solution. There is multiple solutions, and you as young people going out to the world, we must realize that it is just not addressing with our mindset that we have a solution to one issue, but rather we have to look in a holistic manner how the whole connection is. Like just now I gave you a very good example. You do not know where the money is missing from your bank account, so it is not as simple as, but how, which, where is the weakest link that will has triggered this, right? Okay, can we go on next slide? Now, the greater the wickedness, the greater the complexity. Does that mean we be less complex? No, because in this business dynamics world where innovation is thriving, where you find that there are many technological improvements, where blockchain, fintech, things like that coming in, and data science and AI and machine learning is all taking over now. So because of this, you find that the wicking is intertwined, everything is connected. So there's no such thing as having one solution when there's a problem, because it does not work out. It will not be able to solve the problem. Why? Because it is an already an networked issue. It's a whole combination of components, combination of various problems intertwined with this particular problem. So it's very complex, very complex. A good example is COVID. Till today, we don't know who actually started COVID. The coronavirus. China is blaming US is blaming China, and vice versa. And nobody knows really where this COVID is coming from, or this coronavirus, who started it, why is it so spreading? Yeah. So I'm very much open to questions and and this and in even in your particular journey, right? Now, ecosystem in the 21st century. You notice that basically you're looking at the self-regulating and adaptive systems, self-organization. What do you mean by self-organization? It seems to be a very huge word. Organization that is able to the challenges and still survive. These are self-organization. Peter Professor says that organization should be um, mobilized, very much self operational. In other words, he's against the idea because departmentalization will divide the organization, human resource, purchasing, accounts. Actually, there's no such thing as departmentalization, although there is functions, yes, accounting function, human resource function, purchasing function, sales function. But to have a department, you are just segregating. So whatever happened in the next department is not the other department, because it happens in another department. That is not self-organization. Self-organization is where you find that there is a interaction of every level, of every functional group. Why? For the whole goal is for the goal that is achieved by the organization. So therefore is to say that there is no such thing as basically hierarchy. And sometimes this hierarchy, and it's very difficult for our Asian context to understand. Why? Because we are very used to in Asia on a hierarchy. We're very useful. We're very used to it. For us, we can't understand. Even for me, when I first read on self organization, I find as if hierarchy is not there, then how? Why? Because hierarchy is basically a traditional approach. When a hierarchy happens, you are not creative because you always wait for your boss to give the idea, or the boss, whatever the boss say, I follow. So the creativity skill is stifled. And because of that, an individual cannot grow. So in an wicked system, you must enhance creativity. Organizations must enhance creativity. Only with creativity, your organizations can grow. Be it even university, be it even colleges, be it even every entity, there must be creativity so that the ecosystem will allow creativity. I know some organization will encourage their staff to take part-time course, but they won't give time off to study. That is not enhancing creativity. That is not building an ecosystem. In fact, you are stifling. I know some audit companies where they squeeze their staff until 4 a.m. in the morning or 5 a.m. in the morning. The poor young their face or have a shower and quickly come back to office at 9 o'clock. That is not creating an ecosystem of productivity because you have not even time to think. What more sleeping? Human society benefits from these properties of self-organization. And you find that the 21st century approach of ecosystem to address the particular prevalence of wicked problem is to have a different mindset. Next slide. A different mindset is important. That means there must be a space for creativity. Organizations must allow, like even for that matter, lecturers, I'm sorry to say this, but some institutions, they squeeze the lecturers to 20-25 hours a week. How can you expect the lecturer to get involved in research? How can you expect the lecturer to get involved in creativity to enhance the program? Because he or she is already bogged down with so much, and then top of it, so much of student activities and etc. 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 This is what is happening. That's the reason much of Asian universities are not producing high quality research. Because basically the staffs don't have the time, which is the truth. And here you are saying, no, you must produce paper, you must produce research. How can they do that? So you're looking at a traditional approach and having a slavery mindset. Although slavery has been erased from the world, physical slavery centuries ago, but the spirit of slavery is still alive in organization. Even companies, they squeeze their staff until and pay them peanuts and expect the best kind of. They say that is increasing productivity and that is efficiency. To me, that is nonsense. Why? Because you're having slavery mindset. The spirit of slavery is there, although you don't acknowledge, and that would not enhance creativity. That is looking at the feudal system. The feudal system. The feudal system is where for example, a person is the boss and he drives the slaves. That is not the 21st century approach. That kind of ecosystem will fail. No wonder that companies of such kind of nature did not survive during COVID. Next slide. What can young professionals do? You guys are going to the world, facing all kind of things and having so much of information in your head and in your mind. You're so excited. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to come up. I'm going to be the next, what they call it, next Sundar Pichai. I'm going to become the next person that's going to influence the world. So excited, fantastic. That's great. But you're going to face an organization which has a traditional approach. You're going to face an organization that has they will solve current problem with traditional approach. Oh, 20 years ago, that's what I did, the boss will say. And it worked. You must follow my method. It doesn't work any longer. It doesn't work. And there's also the element of pride. Sometimes people are in the organization for 20 pride. They said, why must I listen to you? But actually, the young people have so much of ideas. That's the reason there's brain drain in many nations. Because they can't find nobody listens to them. There's no voice, so they leave the country, migrate, and the country is losing talented people. And that's a fact. You and I know. You can read all the figures by yourself. Next slide. So what does to come away as young people, the grasshopper mentality, having a mindset of vision, expansion of vision. We all have this. There's an old saying: "Without vision, a person perish." That a vision is so crucial. We all must have vision at whatever age. We can't say, "Oh, I'm already 80 years old, and there's no such thing as vision enough. There's time for me to take care of my grandchildren and all that." Some people tell me that, and especially my uncles and all that. But until you leave Earth, there must be a vision. Until you leave Earth, there must be a vision, because the vision to expand, the vision to increase your productivity, the vision to impact communities. That is the reason why we are today alive, to impact communities. And the community could be our office, could be our friends, could be, all our circles that we know. Bold. Today, young people, you have to be bold. Bold in a very respectful manner, I mean. Bold in a very respectful manner. To state your case, to state clarity about your ideas. Strategy. Have a proper strategy, a plan to work out that your plan will be able to meet the needs of today. Today's problem is so complex. A good example of complex problem is when you see the cereal in the TV. I'm sure you have that in India, right? Even we have that in Malaysia. We have the cereal. I tell you, the cereal is so complex until I just can't see more than one episode, because it's so complex, so many people involved. So just stop seeing the series now these days, because it really is so complex. So that reminds me of the complexity that we are in today in the business world, right? No? In the business world, you have so much. It's so complex these days. And you must be adaptive. What do I mean by adaptive? To blend, not to forego principles. That is very wrong. We cannot sacrifice our principles, but we can be adaptive towards the cultural needs, towards the need of the time, towards of characters in the particular organization. I remember a time that I had a very difficult boss, very difficult boss in the bank, and she dumps all the work on me and things like that. But I took it as an opportunity to learn. I took it an opportunity, and today we are good friends, and we meet up and we chat and things like that, because of the adaptiveness, adaptive to that problem. I could have easily walked away, but I wanted to adapt myself so that I want to learn, and then I able to in fact have greater productivity. Next slide. Now, in our thought pattern, to encrypt our mind, because for us to change our mindset, we need to change the science in our mindset. Because it is a little bit of science. 100 trillion, is it? We call it. Is it a trillion? Yeah, 100 trillion neurons. And you find that 12 to 50,000 thoughts per day, 10 to 12 to 50,000 thoughts per day. That depends on the age, that depends on the gender. Some people says that women has more thoughts per day than men. I don't want to go in that area, because that end up we may not finish our seminar today, because men will say they have more thoughts. So let's leave it as such, okay? But you find that the brain can travel in terms of speed 268 miles per hour. And we are also exposed to our pattern of mindset is also influenced by our sensory organs, our five senses. And also we find that internal dialogues we may have. Sometimes we do have internal uh, uh, dialogues. We call it as mind voice sometimes, internal dialogues. And certain specific events that happen in our lifetime, we find that we start to remember, and that creates our mindset. That becomes the building block of our mindset. Next slide. Spiritual thoughts, right? In whichever religion we are in, we have spiritual thoughts, right? So that adds to our mindset as well. That is one of the components. Our worldview. what our worldview is. I asked some students, what is their worldview? Sir said, sir, I just want to finish my degree, get a job, get married, and have my own family, and that's it. That is the worldview. But some will say, no, I want to finish my degree, I want to do my masters, I'm trying to do my PhD, then I want to, design something, create something that will help human. So that is their worldview. So there's many people with different worldview. Some people's worldview are only in the movies, cinema. Some people worldview is only in that particular area. It's nothing wrong or right, but we have to reassess our worldview. Is our worldview shaping our mindset? Is our worldview an hindrance to our progress? Is our worldview helping us in our productivity? Now the question to you young students is, what is your worldview? What is your worldview? Your worldview must not hinder your progress, your vision. Sometimes as young people, we have this burning desire, right? This burning desire to do something. And some of us will have this kind of desire. Some of us may say, never mind, let me just finish my degree and and that's it, I just want to, yeah, fine. It doesn't matter. But that's your world, that's your right. That's your worldview. But think for a moment, what is your purpose today in this complex environment, in this wicked environment? What is your role? You may say, no, my role is to study and finish that. Yes, of course, that is a physical role. But deep down, what is your destiny in this wicked challenges that we are facing? This situation that we face, what is your role? As a human being, what is our role? Are we just here just to warm our chairs and get an education from a prestigious institute like Sri Ramakrishna College and then go and work and that's it? Is this what we are here for? The same question I ask myself. What am I here for? Am I here to impact communities in this wicked issue, in the wicked kind of situations that I'm in? And how can I contribute? How can I look at opportunities that could help me to build myself? Opportunities to contribute where I can. How? How is this possible? Again, social interaction. Who you mix with? Who are your friends? There's a saying, you are what your friends are. Who are you mixing with? Are you mixing with friends that will draw you out, draw your energy out? There are some friends who can draw your energy out. Or are you mixing with people that will enhance your thinking pattern? Are you mixing with people? I'm not saying to disregard others. What I'm saying, who are your circle? Who are your friends? Of course, we have to be friend with all who come to us. But at the same time, who are your people that you can really share? So these are something that we got to food for thought. We are supposed to ask ourselves all these questions. Maybe you have not asked this question before, and now is an opportunity for you to ask yourself this question. Next slide. Now, I said bold. We need to be also be upskilling ourselves. Don't say that that's enough. That degree is enough. That's it. Our masters is enough. That's it. Yes, we know we all go through some challenges. Some of us go through financial challenges. Some of us go through some family issues. But whatever challenges that we go in any part of our lifetime, do not forget to upskill ourselves. You got to upskill yourself. Even when you're 60 years old, we even retrain, upskill. Why? Because we have to contribute to this particular, in that particular season. Otherwise, the very fact that we are in a complex world in this particular period speaks something. We could have been in a period where it's less complex, but we are here now. So therefore, in this, to identify wicked opportunities, to be a recipient versus a repulsive, to that you're working in, having a short course for you to do. And I know that means you have to sacrifice your time, sacrifice your sleep, but take that opportunity because you never know that will take you to the next level. Maybe your boss is asking for you to do a difficult task. Next time when you go to work, take that on shoulder. Take that, put it on your shoulder and say, look, you are going to, yes, it is difficult. Yes, it is a mind-boggling problem, but I'm going to solve it with my team. It becomes a new learning curve for you. And have a clarity of vision. Don't confuse your vision. I know young people want to do so many things. Sir, I want to travel the world. I want to, do this, do that, do that. They give me a list. But prioritize. Very clear in your approach. Because in this wicked challenge, to face wicked challenges, your mind must be clear. And you got to be innovative. And when you talk about innovative, it's not simply incremental, but it must be transformational. There must be a tangible impact on the innovation. That it must be transformational. It cannot be just incremental. I did my work last time 5 years ago. Now I'm doing it faster. That is incremental. But what if I now did my manually and now I've put up a system where I've built a new software to make my work even better? That is transformation. Embrace change. In whatever you do, you must embrace. Change is something constant. Meta learning, deep learning. The problem with many parts of communities today, in any country for that matter, there is an issue of lack of deep thinking, deep learning. We just learn on the surface just to pass the exam. That's it. We don't dive deep. When we dive deep is the one we can solve wicked problems. When we dive deep. Strategies. Align your strategies accordingly. You can't just simply put things like, for example, the Titanic. Sorry, Arti, how many more minutes I have? How many more minutes I have? Arti, how many more minutes I have?
Sir, 10 minutes, sir.
Oh, 10 minutes. My goodness. No, okay, sorry. Can I ask for additional 5 minutes?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
Right. So, like for example, the movie called Titanic. Titanic is a complex problem because the ship was sinking. Many people were afraid to die. You saw the movie, they were saying their prayers and all that. They were so afraid to die. But only a few thought the opportunity to live. And only those who had survived. The rest of them died. What can we learn here? What is your mindset at that point of the time where there's a problem exists? What is your mindset? Face this challenge. What is the mindset when your boss is telling you to do a difficult job? What is your mindset now when you have a very difficult assignment in front of you? Recognize toxicity. Get away from toxicity. You find that particular situation is toxic, a lot of negativity. Stay away because that will influence you. Boundary, increase your boundary. Think beyond what you're thinking today. Let your mind expand and have active engagement. Next slide. Active engagement. Right. Miljan Bachik says this, as leaders, we need to evolve our mindset, sense which context we are in, and be able to shift between value system and the ontological states of order, complexity, and chaos. Whatever state we are in, we are going to shift our mindset to say what is present now, what is the problem now, and what is the solution now. Don't use solution that is 20 years ago, that is 10 years ago, although at that time it worked, but now it is a light. Right? Docile, tame, wicked. Earlier, traditional approach, clear answer, solvable, problem space, organ. Now, there's no such thing as true or false answer. Many dimensional. Right? No ultimate test because you really can't see the problem being solved because you know it's being solved because at the same time you feel that it's not being solved because it's very complex. Next slide. Right. Organizational changes and transformations are wicked problems. Why? Because leaders in the organization cannot agree. because you have multifold mindset in the organization. The board members may be comprised of old thoughts, new thoughts. They claim that they are all having new mindset, embracing change, but basically they don't want to change. I know many organizations, they only speak. I've been sitting on board, and then they say they only speak board members meeting, and they only speak that they want to change, but the moment the change comes, they refuse to accept those changes. They refuse to accept. That's the reason why organizations get hit during times of wicked challenges. Next slide. What does wicked leadership? Now you guys are going to the working world. What sort of leadership that you want to have? Embrace ideas. Accept lack of control. The feudalistic system cannot operate. You got to give independence to everyone, to your team. Be part of the organizational leadership. Of course, everybody can say, look, I'm not a leader. I'm just, but that's your choice. That's your choice. If you want to become a follower, that's your choice. But if you want to become a leader, that's also your choice. Wicked problem doesn't require leadership as what I understand today. It is a thinking paradigm must change. You need space for a person to think, space for the person to have creative ideas. Next slide. Collective leadership. Now, what can organizations do? Just now we saw what that young professionals do. Now, what can organizations do? Next slide. It is having an ecosystem. Encourage creativity. Cut off bureaucracy. As I told you just now, how can a person be creative when he doesn't even have time to think? He spends about 15 hours a day in the office. Now with online working. Online working is even worse. The boss expects you to be 24/7. Next slide. You find that basically you're looking at cultural context, institutional, geographical, to analyze the particular issue, to understand how, like for example, companies like Nestle, companies like Coca-Cola, how in terms of globalization they be able to survive for more than 100 years. I'm sure they have a lot of complex problems. I'm sure they have come into situation of wicked issues, and I'm sure they would have got very much cornered in many of these countries. But look, today they are still around. But look at those companies like Kodak. Kodak is gone. It used to be one of the top film companies. Now it's gone. Brands like JVC is gone. So why? Because the ecosystem was not ready to embrace those change. Next. So bring an ecosystem to address wicked opportunities. Leadership. Connectivity. We cannot be an island. We must be connected. Companies will be connected to their industry partners, to their industry, and also connect to the world so that their market will be open. They have more ideas to create. What are the needs of the community outside their circle? Goals, clarity of goals, transparency. This is something that companies claim to be transparent, but they are not transparent. To be very honest, I'm sure you if you were to study any case study, you know what I mean. But I say, how can we are not talking about transparency in terms of details, in terms of dollar and cents. We're talking about transparency in terms of processes, in terms of areas where you find that will gain the confidence and the trust of employees. Next slide. Mindset change, design thinking, innovation, to create an ecosystem that will have an opportunity for innovation. And that's where when you have such kind, we need to look at these opportunities and take advantage of these opportunities to innovate. Because only in innovation, that's why research is very important. Even in terms of commercial companies, not only institutions or not only academic institutions, research plays a very, very important role. Research can not only mean scientific research, it could be even social science research, accounting research, finance research, behavior pattern, consumer behavior patterns, and even fintech. And you have loads and loads and loads of research areas where you can improve. Right. Exercising non-linear. What do I mean by non-linear? It is exercising a very much a way whereby you find that there's no one solution to that problem. For example, areas of spirituality is considered as non-linear. A plus B doesn't equal to C. There's other factors that is involved. Collaboration. I'm so happy that Sri Ramakrishna College has collaborated with us. We are so happy. Why? Because through collaboration we can learn from each other. Next slide. Inclusivity, to include every community, to include everyone, every strata. That's the reason why you find this online learning is actually an inclusivity approach, where everyone, as long as you have internet access, you can learn. Sensitivity, to be sensitized in areas of culture, in areas of certain communities. Sensitivity is very important. Otherwise, we will be saying the wrong thing. We'll be producing a wrong kind of item, product. For example, rugby team of New Zealand went to Japan. They and teams there, the men like to have tattoos in their body, and one of the tattoos actually is an offense to the Japanese culture. You know what they did? They wore a T-shirt, right, during the game just to cover their face because they don't want to offend their host. That is sensitivity. That is amazing. Invest in the right technology. Recognize signals. This is something. Companies today do not recognize signals. What I mean by signals, in signaling theory, we learn that. In signals, what is signals? That means to say that if there's any issue, highlight this issue. It can be how small. It can be even employees being frustrated. That's a signal. Why are they frustrated? Why are they not happy? Right? Why is your product not working? That is, if we don't address that, then you find your revenue in the long run will get hit. 2010 Greece, they had this mountain of debt, but that debt happened 15 years ago. But nobody want to address that signal, and it accumulated until in 2010, the whole country collapsed, and they had to ask for IMF bailout. Constant improvement. There's something that doesn't end. Next slide. Oh, great. We are now Q&A. And the next slide. Yes, that's my contact, right? And I've given the slide to Dr. Pavin. You can even use the slide. That's not a problem. And you can contact me, and there's no issue. Now, I would like to open the time for Q&A. You can switch off the slide, right? It's time for Q&A now. Right? Any discussion or anything, and you find that these slides are helpful. So let's have, I'm sure some of you are master students. You may have certain burning questions. So by all means, yeah, you can always voice it out. Over to you, RT. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions? Yes, speak out. Speak out, please. If there's any question, don't feel shy, yeah? Master students and undergraduates, you shouldn't feel shy. This is good time for you to ask questions, and through questions we learn. Write in the chat box.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can ask, sir. Any questions related to this topic?
Okay, Revati asked this question. Yeah, I like your word. Energy of the mind is the essence of life, Aristotle. Right, coming to your question, how can a person prioritize between one's passion and commitment? Prioritize between one's passion and commitments. Yes, at sometimes in life, our passion has to be put aside because of commitment. But whatever it is, the passion can be put aside, but the passion should not be dead. The passion should not be dead. You can reignite the passion maybe along the way. But of course, your commitment is what is real, what is happening. Your passion could be something that you want to do maybe in the future. So in these areas of wickedness, to address the present issue of commitment supersedes that of the passion. But let not your passion die. You must not allow your passion to die. And that is up to you, right? That is up to you. I hope I've answered your question, Revati. Yes, Bharadiyar University. Yes, I'm one of the external examiner for Bharadiyar. Yes, yes, yes. Any other question, please? Don't feel shy, guys. Master students are not supposed to feel shy. Undergraduates, you can ask as much question as you can. There's no such thing as silly question. Every question is a question. Oprah Winfrey, the U.S. Host, she earns about 970 million US dollar per year by asking questions. But of course, in our context, we can't. But I'm just telling the importance of questions. Right, the importance of questions, you know. Yes, any questions? Yeah, you're most welcome, Revati. Any question? Anything in international business that you came across, right, in this complex business environment, in international business? What are the issues that you came across that you know in your discussions? Wow, I think my presentation has totally made you understand everything, or it has totally confused. So I hope not. I hope not. It's not and if there's no questions, Dr. Pavin, I will end this, and I would like to again thank the organizing committee of Sri
Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science to deliver the oath of thanks.
And guided us to succeed the wonderful day. Thank you, sir. I jubilantly accord my heartfelt thankfulness and gratitude to our today's chief guest, Dr. Benedict Valentine Arulanandam, spending his time and accepting our invitation. And here I would like to thank specially for his presence through Google Meet live stream. Thank you, sir. I happily extend my thankfulness and gratitude to our HG ma'am, Dr. I. Parveen Banu, and Dr. Agila ma'am, my soulmates and my dear participants for their effort. Without them, this would not happen. Thank you, one and all. Once again, I bestow my thanks everyone of you present here. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.